Even as U.S. President Donald Trump left the NATO summit a happy man, his interactions with leaders and the media were overshadowed by a series of verbal slips. It all started with his arrival in Turkey itself. While walking on the tarmac after being welcomed by the Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, Trump briefly turned sideways and seemed to have lost his way. This prompted Erdogan to take his arm, guide him step by step toward the military guard of honor. And well, this is not all. While meeting with the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on the sidelines of the NATO summit, he made yet another gaffe by mistakenly referring to Iran as the Islamic Republic of Japan. Listen in.
I told the story yesterday. We had 111 missiles shot by the Islamic Republic of Japan. They were shot at the aircraft carrier.
Subsequently, multiple Republicans mocked him on social media. For instance, U.S. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer stated that Trump's rambling, unhinged and confused performance was an embarrassment to America on the world stage. And well, it didn't end here. Trump pointed to Zelensky and asked if reporters have any questions for President Putin. However, he soon appeared to realize his error, and he claimed that he wanted to relay the questions when he spoke to the Russian president later.
Question for President Putin, please? Do you have a question for President Putin? Not Zelensky. Putin. What would you like to ask him? Because I'm going to ask him that question.
While boasting of his popularity on social media, he also repeatedly mispronounced the name of TikTok as Tic Tac. Listen in.
Who's number one on TikTok? I am. I'm number one on TikTok. And all I talk about is how bad communism is, right?
Now remember, concerns over Donald Trump's health have been mounting, with bruises on his hands being noticed in the last few months. The White House, though, attributed it to frequent handshaking, the use of aspirin, as well as a condition named chronic venous insufficiency. He often mocked his predecessor, Joe Biden, remember, for his low energy levels, calling him Sleepy Joe. But Donald Trump has himself now been caught in a bout of daytime drowsiness on many occasions. Now, in terms of tangible outcomes, remember, the NATO summit was not particularly fruitful for Trump. While the American president has been pushing NATO allies to buy more American weapons, the bloc announced a $4.5 billion plan to procure up to 10 surveillance planes manufactured by Swedish defense firm Saab instead of Boeing. Now, Donald Trump has openly questioned why countries such as Britain, Germany and France did not back the U.S. strongly enough during the Iran war. However, the worst criticism was reserved for Spain, whom he dubbed as a wasted cause. Subsequently, he ordered an immediate halt to all trade with Spain.
Wasted cause. We don't want to do any trade business with Spain anymore, by the way. I'd like you to cut it off. Spain is a terrible partner in NATO. They don't participate, they don't pay. I don't want anything to do with Spain. Cut off all trade with Spain, please, including visits.
Trump also renewed his claim that America should take control of Greenland and dubbed NATO's stance on the issue as a big problem. But this triggered an immediate reaction from the Danish Prime Minister, Mette Frederiksen, who stressed that Greenland is not up for sale. But Trump did make an impact as far as his push for enhanced defense spending by NATO allies is concerned. The alliance has announced more than $50 billion for new defense procurements and highlighted that NATO countries had increased their investment in core defense requirements in 2025 by over $139 billion. Similarly, NATO threw its weight behind the U.S. amid its ongoing conflict with Iran. In the summit declaration, the bloc reiterated that Iran must never have a nuclear weapon and called upon it to respect freedom of navigation in the Strait of Hormuz. While NATO did put up a united front at the summit in wake of all the bickering between America and its European allies, it remains to be seen whether this momentum can be sustained, given Trump's tendency to launch personal attacks on leaders of NATO countries.